Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from chapter 2, text 11. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. There is more Gitas around in the back also if you need to take Gitas. Please circulate them. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Asocyananvasochastvam Pragyavadam Shabhasase Gatasuna Gatasunscha Nanu Sochanti Pandita. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Asocyan, not worthy of lamentation. Anvasocha, you are lamenting. Tvam, you. Pragyavadan, learned talks. Cha, also. Pasase, speaking. Gata, lost. Asun, life. Agata, not past. Asun, life. Cha, also. Na, never. Anusochanti, lament. Pandita, the learned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace S.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Purport. The Lord at once took the position of the teacher and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you are talking like a learned man, but you do not know that one who is learned, one who knows what is body and what is soul, does not lament for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition. As explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know matter and spirit and the controller of both. Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance than politics or sociology. But he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and the Supreme is even more important than religious formularies. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. As he did not happen to be a very learned man, he was consequently lamenting for something which was unworthy of lamentation. The body is born and is destined to be vanquished today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not as important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned, and for him there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of the condition of the material body. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Praschata Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone can repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. some words here that are of importance. Asocyan, which means not worthy of lamentation, and anvasochas, you are lamenting. And then pragyavadans, learned talks. And anusochanti means lament, and pandita means the learned. Very nice sloka here. So, how many of you have friends? Friends. Okay, you're friends, right? Right. Friends. Dost. And who was Arjuna's friend? Krishna. What's the meaning of a friend? What do you consider as a friend?
Friend, you can depend on difficult situations. When you need someone, you can depend on your friend.
Only difficult times? Only on difficult times?
Mostly you need a friend when you have pain or suffering, or you are in need of someone or something. And if that person helps you, you can call him a friend, I think.
Okay, that's a good start. Yes, Mata.
A friend, somebody who understands you, who cares for you.
Very nice.
Gives you support, whether you do good or bad thing.
Yes.
Can help you.
Thank you. Yes, Mata.
There's a saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Perfect, yeah. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Yes, that's a nice... Yes, Prabhu.
When we want to share our emotions.
Yes.
Heartfelt
Yeah.
emotions.
So in other words, there are so many different understanding of friendship, and we all like to have friends, Anybody likes to have enemies? No, right? Nobody likes to have enemies. No. So this is very important to understand here. It's a very important point in Arjuna's life. All this time, Krishna has been his friend, and he has been treating him like a friend, And this is a time when Arjuna is actually now in a dilemma, This is going to be a turning point in his life, in his relationship with Krishna. And this turning point in his life in relation to Krishna is also of extreme importance to every living entity who can walk and talk, read and write and understand, This is very, very important. It's a turning point. All this time they've been friends, And the first aspect that I see from this dialogue up to this dialogue in the first chapter and up to now is Krishna is listening. A friend is one who listens, who hears, We all have a tendency when you're talking to somebody and then you start forereading what they're going to say next, and we have a tendency to cut them off, right? We cut them off, and even though we are not asked to give an opinion or advice or help, we immediately start acting, right? A lot of the time, that's because we are on an egostatic platform and we think we know better. It's human nature. We have a tendency to feel that we are better than others. We know better than the other person. And that tendency, every now and again, jumps out of us. And we don't realize that sometimes we think we are trying to good to our children or to our friends, to our neighbors, to co-devotees. But unfortunately, because we haven't heard properly, we may actually do damage rather than help, So we can learn from this aspect that Krishna is very calmly standing. This battlefield, they're on a battlefield. Everyone's ready to kill each other. Krishna is calm. He's unmoved. He's a cool guy, the coolest dude in the universe, you can call him. And he's listening. And only when Arjuna says that, now I'm confused, please guide me. So at that stage, a friend, as a friend, Krishna takes the role of a guru. He now starts instructing him. See, this is the big change in their life that is coming. That Krishna is actually now becoming a friend in need is a friend indeed, yeah. It's not a situation, well, if I say this or I say that, my friend will be hurt. Now he's saying that my friend here is in ignorance. We'll explore the ignorance factor in a few minutes. But my friend here now is in ignorance and he needs to be enlightened, Because naturally, as long as we are on a bodily platform, Almost everyone is on a bodily platform right from birth, because we don't have the real knowledge of the soul and the difference between the soul and the body, And body is composed of 5 elements, right? Which are those elements? Earth, water, fire, and ether. How many of you are attached to water? Sometimes, right? Only when you are thirsty. Otherwise, do you think about water all the time? No, why not? How many of you are attached to fire? Yeah, now it's cold, so you need fire, right? But when it's extreme heat, how many of us are attached to fire? We actually find the coolant, right? You don't want the fire. You begin to hate the fire, right? Earth, water, same thing. You can say air, right? And as it is, we are conditioned to live with the air. Without the air, we cannot survive, right? But if you go outside in the hemisphere further up, there are air zones where there is no air, There are places where there's planets where there is no air, Then there are other forms of living entities surviving there, So we are not attached to earth, water, fire, ether, and air. But we are attached to the same body that is made of these elements, This shows the level of ignorance that we are living through, And that's why when we connect with our brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, and other personalities, we build that attachment, and that attachment is built on bodily platform. And as long as that attachment is on bodily platform, then according to Krishna, we are very much on the platform of ignorance, And that's why we think, Arjuna is thinking, how can I kill all these people? They are my kinsmen. But the reason he's thinking like that is because he's seeing them as his kinsmen on bodily platform, If he would be seeing there is a soul in there, and what is the benefit for the soul in this battle? He would think otherwise, Because then he would see the soul on the other side standing on the platform of adharma, right? So in order to remove that soul from the adharmic platform and take that soul back to a spiritual platform, it was much more important. That's how Krishna says it, That all these bodily conscious personalities who are standing there, so much in bodily conscious, that they're crazy. They are out to get whatever they want at any cost. That was Duryodhana's side. They didn't see the importance of dharma, and that is why the battle was taking place. So here, this is a very big turning point for Arjuna, that Krishna is actually now taking the position of a real friendship, and he's taking the position of a guru, and then he starts instructing, So this relationship in guru and disciple is something that we have to take very seriously also, That yes, now this is an opportunity. And for us also, Bhagavad-Gita is also instruction for us, And if we can understand Krishna in this way, then our life will become so much more practically easier to understand as to where we are standing, where we are going, what we are doing. But we have to have faith in Krishna. You have to faith in Guru and Parampara. There are many things we cannot see. Just like Arjuna couldn't see the soul on the battlefield, he was only seeing the bodies that were related to him. There are many things we can't see, but very, very useful to us. For example, milk. Right? We all like milk. We all see milk. Anyone has never seen milk in their life? Right? What is inside? What is hidden inside every little particle of milk? Butter. Okay. What else? Ghee. What else? Who likes pizzas? What comes on the top of pizzas? Cheese. Right? All these elements are there. We can't see it. Therefore, we can't say, well, I don't drink milk. I don't like milk, or anything like that. There is a science behind it. So likewise, we have to see that Krishna, when he said in the scriptures that he is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, and that he is existing everywhere, then that means he's in every particle, not only in the particles of milk, but he's in every particle that exists in the universe, every molecule, every neutron, and maybe they'll find some other tinier things, but they will never be as tiny as 1/10,000th tip of a hair, which is the size of a soul, right? And every soul exists. Who exists? The Paramatma exists with every soul, right? So from that angle we can understand Krishna is existing everywhere. He knows every little thing that is going on, Yeah, and he can also foresee what's going to happen. So therefore it is important for us to understand that, like, okay, let me develop my consciousness, It's like Prabhupada gives this example of the air. Air is very pure, right? It is very pure by nature. But what happens is that as the air or the wind blows, and say it goes through some beautiful roses, then you get very nice aroma and you feel nice, right? And then sometimes you pass some restaurant and something you like, you can, especially donuts in America or pizzas in Italy or samosas in Delhi or wherever, right? Then you start, your senses start jumping, right? But it's the aroma that you appreciate. On the contrary, if the air is going through some garbage, or like in the gutters, in the open gutters, and you're passing there, then naturally, you block your nose, you put something in front of your nose. So it's not that the air is bad, but there are bad elements, right? So we have to look at our lives in that way also, that it's the karma that we perform. The soul is pure. Soul is absolutely pure. But when the soul in the body is performing certain activities, then it creates karmas. And those karmas is what we carry with us, the 5 elements we discussed. Then other than that, the other elements are the mind, the ego, like that travels with the subtle body, right? So that will carry the karma with it, And it's the karma that the soul carries with it decides what you're going to be in your next life, We have to look at it from that angle also. What do you want to carry with you in your next life? If you think of Krishna, if you think of devotees, you think of Radharani, you think of Radharani's pastimes, Gopi's pastimes, you think of Prabhupada's pastimes, then we get connected to Krishna in that way. On the contrary, if we're involved in negative activities, that means we are involved in akarmic activities, where we are harming other people, then we will incur, negative karmas for which we'll have to suffer, So, so we have karma, we have vikarma, and we akarma. Akarma means like you don't want positive karmas, you don't want negative karmas. And what is akarma? Akarma is how to get connected to Krishna. So we should be thinking, what is it that we can think about? So naturally, Prabhupada has given us so many services we can do. We can perform so many different kind of services that helps us, to think in different ways, in different lines. That yes, you can be attached to the deity worship, or you can be attached to any one of the services, even book distribution or Sankirtan on the streets with Harinam, doing house programs. There's so many unlimited forms of preaching. Nowadays there's media, people are preaching on the media also, And then many devotees are getting clicks, 1 million people are clicking because the devotee becomes, famous in his answering his questions or presentations. So this way, if we become absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then we'll get connected to Krishna. We find out, okay, if you want to know more about Krishna, how do I get to know more about Krishna? I read Krishna's books. It's not so difficult. I hear Krishna Katha, not so difficult, Sravanam, so important. And then I look at, like for example, I was thinking, what else can I do? And I was looking at Prabhupada's lecture, and one stage Prabhupada saying that Chintan karo, think of Krishna, and he is a board, And in Brahma Samhita it said, Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vritesu surabhira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra satasambhrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So we are singing Govindam Adipurusham every morning. We hear the 2 slokas. There are so many wonderful slokas. Go through each sloka and see how Krishna is being described and how Lord Brahma is glorifying Lord Krishna. I selected this one because this one has some attractive elements for human features. He says that I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis, right? So in subtle ways we are attached, into gems and Lakshmis, and we see Lakshmi as dollars and rupees. We are not seeing Lakshmi as a consort of Lord Narayan, but still there is an attraction, and that attraction, knowingly or unknowingly, brings us to the lotus feet of the Lord. And Prabhupada gives a very nice purport here, and he says, by the word Chintamani is meant transcendental gem. Just as Maya builds this mundane universe with the 5 material elements, so the spiritual potency has built the spiritual wall of transcendental gems. The Chintamani, which serves as material in the building of the abode of the Supreme Lord of Golok, is far rarer and more agreeable entity than the philosopher's stone. The purpose tree yields only the fruits of piety, wealth, fulfillment, and desire and liberation. But the purpose trees in the abode of Krishna bestow innumerable fruits in the shape of checkered divine love. Kamdhenus, cows yielding the fulfillment of desire, give milk when they are milked. But the Kamdhenus of Golok pour forth oceans of milk in the shape of fountain of love, showering transcendental bliss that does away with the hunger and thirst of all pure devotees. The words Laksa and Sahasra Sata signify endless numbers. The word Sambrahma or Sadar indicates being saturated with love. Here Lakshmi denotes Gopi. Adi Purusha means he who is a primeval Lord. So many nice things Prabhupada is saying, like we may not have seen it, but at least we can start meditating. If we start meditating, because we do meditate on so many things, even on mundane platform. You want a better life by doing this, by doing that, by doing something else. I'll buy a better car. I'll have a better residence. I'll have a better source of incomes instead of selling japamalas. I will sell CDs or something else. I'll write my own book and distribute so I can make money. So we always meditating on doing something. There is no such thing as absolute idle mind, But Prabhupada in one of the lectures, there's actually 2 very nice lectures on the YouTube by Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is saying that just as much as the human being has a tendency to meditate, it is better to read and hear and then to meditate on the pastimes of the Lord and what it is like to be in Golok Dham. What do the gopis do there? What do the manjaris do there? What are the other living entities, whether the pigeons, peacocks, whatever, in the Golok Dham, what do they do? Here everything is perverted reflection. Everything that we see. Just like is given example that even the cows here can only give milk at certain times of the day and when you milk. But out there the Kamdhenu cows, you don't have to milk them. They will just give milk endlessly. There is rivers full of milk. You won't have to queue up in the bakery here with your little container, right? Just think. So if you think like that, so this and the trees are glowing with love for Krishna. So everywhere you see, everything that you see is just amazing. There's it's never an anxiety that I won't have milk for my breakfast, or I won't have enough fruits, whatever. Everything is abundant so much that even by looking at it, you may all your thirst will be quenched, right? When there is shortage, the thirst increases, right? You utilize your influences one way or another to get whatever you need, Either you use your money or you use your influence. But here in this way, we can actually take up, spiritual life seriously. This book here, Chant and Be Happy, is a conversation between George Harrison and Mukunda Maharaj, and then some of the other Beatles. And George is also saying in the first meeting with Srila Prabhupada, he's expressing the same challenge that Arjuna had, that Arjuna did not understand Krishna. Here George is saying that I didn't really understand Prabhupada when I first met, and I just read out a paragraph where he says, when I first met him, Srila Prabhupada, I underestimated him. Same thing Arjuna was doing. And why I am repeating this, that we all have that tendency. It's so easy to underestimate, our devotees, our authorities, our devotees, if you are in authority working under you, everywhere there is a tendency to underestimate and undermine, So we have to be very conscious, and the best way not to do that is to develop that ability to hear properly. It's very, very important. I underestimated him. I didn't realize it then, but I see now that because of him, the mantra has spread so far in the last 16 years, more than it had in the last 5 centuries. This is how George is explaining that, in the last 16 years, the mantra has spread so much so that even if you put all the efforts put in the last 5 centuries, it's not comparable. That's because he was specially appointed from Golok Dham to come and give the mantra to all of us, to every living entity. Many people went to the West try and give the mantras. Many people were trying to give the mantras here, but they were dedicated in a limited way. They had a limited understanding. Whereas Srila Prabhupada was absolutely dedicated. He was completely dependent upon Krishna. In everything that he did, he was absolutely dependent upon Krishna. He never said, I am doing this. It was always my Guru Maharaj's instruction. In one of the lectures here also, in the same lecture, Prabhupada explained, look, I am doing everything here because it is the order of my spiritual master. He says that I didn't have to come to the West. I was quite happy in Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar temple, and I was having very peaceful life. And actually I'm hankering to go back to Vrindavan also, he says like that. It's a nice lecture, you guys can look it up. It's a brilliant lecture. And then he says, but because my spiritual master ordered me, said, you are a learned person, you have all this knowledge, and it is your duty now to go all over the world and dissipate this knowledge. Give it to everyone. Therefore, Prabhupada said, I am here. And you see, I am performing at my age, he says, I am performing so much austerities. But I am doing it for the pleasure of my spiritual master, So we have to also endeavor like that, George is saying that I realized later on that he was much more incredible than what you could see on the surface. And then there's a very nice paragraph he also says, the thing that always stays he's saying that the thing that is touching George's heart is saying that Prabhupada is always saying that I am the servant of the servant of the servant. I like that George is saying. A lot of people say, I am it. I am the divine incarnation. I am here and let me hip you. You know what I mean, George is saying to Mukunda Maharaj. But Prabhupada was never like that. Lesson for us to learn. We also have a tendency, we try to say things from our angle. Don't say things from our angle. There are so many books and so many nice statements and nice slokas. We should memorize them and utilize them as our tool, The servant of the servant of the servant is really what it is, None of us are God, just his servants. He just made me feel so comfortable. I always felt very relaxed with him, and I felt more like a friend. I felt that he was a good friend, even though he was at the time 79 years old, working practically all through the night, day after day, with very little sleep. He still didn't come up through me as though he was a very highly educated intellectual being, because he had a sort of childlike simplicity, which is great, fantastic. This is what George is saying. So this is giving us realization also that, look, Prabhupada never showed anything from an ego platform. We all have this big challenge that ego is always with us, and we are always struggling not to be on the ego platform. We should try and endeavor our best so that we don't end up being. I appreciated the fact that he never made me feel uncomfortable. In fact, he always went out of his way to make me comfortable. I always thought of him as a sort of a lovely friend. Friendship, right? And now, still, he's a lovely friend. And then he says, the song I wrote, living in the material world, as I wrote in I, me, mine, was influenced by Srila Prabhupada. This is a devotee. Srila Prabhupada was like a touchstone. Didn't matter who he met, such big time people. George Harrison was revered all over the world. People knew of him. Ravi Shankar, people knew of him, These two guys were doing so much musical, performances everywhere. But once George came in touch with Srila Prabhupada, he immediately surrendered. He took very seriously to spiritual life, And in his very first meeting, he used to chain smoke, and he asked Srila Prabhupada that, look, I have this challenge, what do I do? And Prabhupada's response was, here, take the beats, Every time you feel like chanting, every time you feel like smoking, you start chanting. And from that point onwards, somebody who was chain smoking a cigar, he never touched another cigar. And every time he used to come on the media, and people would ask him, George, are you still a Hare Krishna? He would pull out his bead bag and start chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So there was never a time that he did not. Even when he was leaving this planet, he called for Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Mukunda Maharaj to be with him. And they were with him for the last 3 days. And George had these beautiful deities of Radha Krishna. And he had them right next to his bed. And he said, I've seen everything, I've done everything this material world. I know I'm not coming back. I know I'm going back to Krishna Loka. He said it with so much confidence. If you ever meet either one of these two devotees and you ask them, just see that like his body was in such a bad shape, but still his consciousness was so profound, So we can learn by examples of these great personalities also that remaining in Krishna consciousness is very important. Maintaining our sadhana bhakti and being very strong is very important, It's like have faith, develop faith, in Guru and Gauranga, Once you develop that faith, through your practices, Chetodarpana Marjanam, what are you doing Marjanam of, What does Marjanam mean, Take it seriously. Do the marjanam of the heart so nicely and seriously that your consciousness will always be pure. If the consciousness is pure, then with that purity, we will encounter so many wonderful things in spiritual world. If the consciousness is contaminated, then there is no purity, and if there is no purity, there is no real force. Then you have negative forces, but not positive forces. Purity is the force. So we want to develop, purity that will help us to make advancement in our spiritual life, It's sometimes like in Govardhan, one Baba was giving an example, and he was saying there's a whole group of, devotees doing parikrama, a big group, and when they've completed the parikrama, everyone sat down and even was tired, 5, 6, 7 hours. Somebody's trying to recover, somebody's sweating, but there was one kid who was jumping around. So somebody asked that kid, did you go on the parikrama? He said, yes. He said, how come you are not tired? How are all these people so tired? He said, because I was sitting on my father's shoulder. Right? So, a simple example, but our Father is with us all the time. He wants to carry us all the time through all the challenges of life and all the happy times of the life. He wants to be with us. As Paramatma, He is with us. Recognize that seriously. Accept that and recognize and pray to Him seriously. He will guide you. He guides us, Remember, there are so many things we don't understand, don't know. Just like the milk particles. There is ghee inside there, and from the ghee there is butter and there's cheese, so many things. So just like then, remember that Krishna is in everywhere. There is no place where there is no Krishna. The moment that you are not seeing Krishna or understanding Krishna is basically because we are covered with that humongous, huge ignorance factor that is not allowing us to see Krishna. We are very fortunate. Krishna, and Lord Brahma has given us those prayers, and we have so much literature from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's lectures are so profound. Prabhupada has given us everything that we need. The only thing that is required is for us to take a serious step forward, a sincere, serious step forward with clear consciousness, Then you will find that our life will become so sublime, Thank you very much. Anyone has any comments or questions? We have 5 minutes. Yes, true. Microphone then.
My question is that you mentioned at the start about Krishna and Arjuna being friends, and then the relationship changed to like spiritual master and disciple.
Yes.
For most of us, we weren't friends with our spiritual master first. It was always like a guru-disciple relationship from the beginning.
Right.
So how is the relationship different, or what should it seems that we shouldn't be friends with our spiritual master as well, at least not materially speaking. Could you talk about the relationship between
The disciple and guru, right? Yeah. First of all, we have to realize we are not Arjuna.
Yeah.
You know.
Please repeat the question.
Okay. Correct me if you need me. He's saying that in these past times of Krishna and Arjuna, they were friends, and then Krishna becomes guru. You know, time, place, and circumstances. But we generally were not friends with our guru. You know, and then now, you know, we have taken initiation and we have a relationship, guru and disciple. So the difference and how it works, right? And elaborate on that. Yeah. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So Krishna and Arjuna, exemplary, outstanding example for us, you know, and then like this knowledge, Krishna arranged for this particular episode so that this knowledge could be out there for centuries or millenniums, you know. And as we know that he had given this knowledge to Sun God millions of years back, you know. So the purpose of him making that arrangement was so that we would get the benefit of the holy name, you know, and also we would come to understanding that it is important, you know. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadeksyanti te jnanam jnaninastatad. So he's instructing that you go to somebody who knows this knowledge and who can guide you, a spiritual master, you know, who is established, you know. So just like we perform a festival. Like here is a very standard thing that Janmashtami and everything most people know. So they come for festivals. But in the Western countries, we do a lot of festivals in the tents and out in the open, and we invite people, you know, so that there's an opportunity for them to come and get closer to Krishna consciousness, you know. So we make that arrangement so they get the benefit. So Krishna made an extraordinary arrangement where there's millions of people are going to fight and die. So that's a different kind of circumstance, right? So we should consider ourselves very fortunate that Krishna gave this instruction, then he sent Srila Prabhupada, and he made arrangements for so many wandering souls, and he also made arrangements for so many, you know, so many devotees who first came with him to associate with him, with Srila Prabhupada. They were not ordinary souls, you know. Can you imagine, if you look at almost every first personality who met Srila Prabhupada, they met him only one time or two times, and Prabhupada said, okay, go to Japan. Okay, go to England. You go, you know, Honolulu, whatever, you know, China, whatever. And devotees, in one's kind of exchange, they took Srila Prabhupada so seriously, you know. Now, we come into the second generation because we are not devotees at that level, you know. We are the suffering souls. Those souls who came to assist Prabhupada, they are not really suffering souls. They may have performed certain pastimes which may appear, and because like we cannot see the ghee in the milk, we cannot see who they really are. And therefore, we see them as ordinary personalities. That is our shortcoming, you know. And these personalities also very special personalities. They have come from Golokdham for in one form or another form to represent, you know, and help Srila Prabhupada to spread the mission all over the world. So, and they are directly representing Krishna, you know. So we should not, in one way we should see them as non-different from Krishna, because they're representing Krishna. Just like Krishna's books are non-different from him, Krishna's prasadam is non-different from him, you know. So in the similar way, we should see our spiritual master that actually Krishna is being represented, you know, by the spiritual master. I am fortunate that I was suffering, and through whatever karma I had, I must have had some pious karmas to be connected to Krishna so easily, as opposed to millions of souls that are suffering outside, you know. There's so many souls out there, so many people. You walk straight out of here and you go see how many rickshawalas are there and how many people are, you know, sleeping on the streets. And then you immediately realize, just stay out on the street one day, all day. You know, try to distribute books and stay out and observe, and you'll be surprised or you'll be shocked that what are the conditions of people even living in Vrindavan. What to speak in hellish cities like Delhi, London, Paris, New York. These are all hell cities. People are suffering like anything. Animals in those cities are having a better life than human beings. So, in comparison to all that we are so fortunate sitting in Vrindavan. You get to eat nice prasadam. And all we have to do is follow the instructions. And what are these unique instructions? The tapasya is sadhana bhakti. And the rest of the day, engage yourself in devotional service. And just by doing that, Krishna says, I will come and take you. Especially in Vrindavan, it says that if you leave your body in Vrindavan, at the time of departure, Krishna comes and sits next to you and he takes you home, back to Godhead. Which president or prime minister of any other country or any country is going to come and say, hey, listen, you're going now, I'm going to say bye to you, right? It doesn't work like that. Even your neighbors won't come, and especially you're really old and you're debilitated, then most people don't want to know you. Even your family members don't want to know you. They're just thinking, the sooner this person leaves, the better it is, then we are freed from having to serve the person. This is the consciousness in the mundane world, Whereas amongst the devotees, when Gunagraya Swami left his body here, and I was, there almost every day, the devotees were singing so nicely when they're sitting there, and, everyone was caring so much. So many senior devotees came to see him, This is devotional life. So when we take, initiation from a spiritual master and we take shelter, we are taking shelter of Krishna ultimately, And Krishna will make arrangements for us when time, place and circumstances it comes that it's time for us to leave. Krishna will make arrangements for us also to go back home, back to Godhead. It's not just a statement that, I will take care of your needs. He's saying, I will do it. Then he means he will do it, But we have to have faith here. This helps your questions? Yeah, thank you. Yes, true.
Thank you, Prabhu, so much. Who in the subject matter, Arjun is being instructed by Krishna, is saying that you are lamenting for not worthy.
Yes.
And Srila Prabhupada, millions times he said, understand, I'm not this body, I'm not this body, I'm not this body. But still, whatever be the case, we are still attached so much to the body because body gives some trouble. Then we drop our beads and then we start doing something else, go to doctor here and there. Faith is not there. So how to get in a situation we are not so much attached to the body because we should be attached to the Krishna consciousness.
So you can't, there's not a touch button that you can touch and say, okay, I'm done. It doesn't work like that. There is a practice, there's a process. And this process that Srila Prabhupada has given us, we have to take it very seriously. When he says minimum 16 rounds, then we should understand it's minimum. It's not 16 rounds. He said do 16 rounds and you're done. If you can do 32, you do 32. Now, a lot of the devotees in Vrindavan who have retired from other parts of the world, like yourself, and you come here, you should utilize your time in the maximum possible, best possible way to chant 64 rounds if you can, You should maximize, there's 24 hours. Even if you're sleeping for 6 hours, you still have 18 hours. In 18 hours, there's no reason why we can't chant 64 rounds. There is no reason why you can't go and distribute some books. There is no reason why you can't come and do some service at the temple or go out preach with the preaching. There's everyday devotees going out preaching. We have about 700 devotees here. About 300 and something are living on the premises here in Goshala. They are all actively doing something or another. There's unlimited service. So we have to get out of our cocoon and stop thinking that, I got to sleep this much and I got to do this for my house first and that. That means we are still, although we are somewhat connected, but not well and truly connected, to the process. Okay, if there are certain challenges you have to take care of, bodily needs have to be taken care of, Prabhupada says health comes first. So make sure you stay healthy all the time, every day go for a japa walk. Don't wait till some limb starts disagreeing with you and then you have to give 24 hours in Naiti hospital or somewhere, Better you do parikrama every day. You have so much time, So, every devotee, like we have Damodar here, he does Vrindavan parikrama every day. And then on Ekadasi day, he does Vrindavan parikrama and he does Govardhan parikrama also. And there are many devotees I see, they do parikrama every day. And so, you can take 2 hours out and you have to chant for at least 2 hours. So if you're smart, you put 2 together and you chant and don't talk to anybody on the road. You don't need to, unnecessarily talk. We have a tendency to spend so much time, doing things that we shouldn't be doing, and we don't concentrate 100% on what we should be doing. So if you really give yourself to this process, then Krishna will take care of so many things that you will be surprised yourself. He takes care of us. But the thing is, we have to surrender. It's the process of surrender. We are not surrendered. That's why we have all these thoughts that this is important, that's important. And when the time of death comes, you will have a list of important things you were doing, and you missed out on the most important aspect of our life. Right? Yes, Mate. Microphone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So in Krishna consciousness, the first thing we hear is, you're not this body. The second thing we hear is, you got this body, so you got to do this, you can't do that. So sometimes it gets too much in the body defense, platform.
Yes.
And whenever it's convenient, I think, So can you comment on that you're not the body, but you are the body, you're a woman, do this, don't do that,
So as we grow up, even in say a life without Krishna consciousness, there is rules and regulations. You go to school, and you must be in the assembly in time. You must go to your classroom in time, right? There is lunch time, specific things. So there's terms and conditions in life right from the childhood. If you become a driver, there is also rules and regulations. You cannot drive through the red light. You know that, right? Except for in China, it's the other way around. So, yeah, that's why when you go to different countries, and if you're driving, you should read the manual. What are they? It's like in England, I think when you come to a round circle, you can't just go in. You have to wait till there's. But in Europe, certain countries, you just drive into the circle. So like if you don't know these rules, you'll immediately end up, in a mess, in trouble. So rules and regulations are there, So because we are in the material world, here, they have given us some guidance of rules and regulations that helps us to rise above the platform, that we are so much engrossed in. We need to come above that platform. Because when you go to Golok Dham, there are no limitations, there are no conditionings, there is no ill health. All these things that exist here, they don't exist there. But if you just tell people just like that, it doesn't make sense to them. So you have to bring them one step at a time, At least the basic fundamental knowledge that we are not this body. And when you tell a person you are not this body, it strikes them. Why do you say that I am not this body, right? It's the beginning of spiritual life for them. Like, I don't know how you guys distributed books, but when I was taught to distribute the Bhagavad-Gita, as I did mostly Bhagavad-Gita start with, I would come and say, please sir or please madam, take one. This book is all about you. Because it's all about the soul. You are the soul. It's all about you. And the curiosity immediately strikes majority of the people think, all about me? This title doesn't make sense, but it's all about me? People will ask you, they'll ask you, all about me? So many times I've heard this, people ask you, all about me? And I say, yeah, absolutely about you. And then you have some selected slokas in there, And then when you read a few slokas, that the soul is going from, one body to another body, and at the time of death, what happens, how the soul departs and everything. And then they become interested. And actually, when you speak like to them in a very friendly way, instead of trying to give a whole philosophical thing, just one statement, it's all about you. Please take one, And many more books are distributed by saying that statement as opposed to trying to philosophize, So, and when they read the Bhagavad-Gita, their whole life changes, But it's true, initially it's a jargon that people cannot accept, easily. But once they start reading, that's why Prabhupada said, don't spend too much time philosophizing. Try to get them to take a book, Even if you say, please take one, please read the book. Be very humble, Just like George Harrison saying, I was really touched by Srila Prabhupada's humility. The humility is the principle, It's the topmost principle. If there is humility, you can touch people's hearts, Okay?
Thank you for your insightful class. There's a word I really appreciate this shloka, like lamentation, neither for living for death. So I would like to ask you comment upon, like, we do lament for those who are not here with us. We do lament what we haven't achieved in our life. But scripture says, even Krishna is saying in Bhagavad-Gita, do not lament. So how to understand practically in our lives? Like lamentation is a part of human life, but Krishna is saying no.
True. Very nice question. How to understand lamentation? Here in this paragraph, it said that like lamentation is actually a hurdle when you are on lamentation problem platform, and especially on bodily platform. That lamentation is not good for you. But otherwise, even in the Mahabharata, when great personalities left, Arjuna, Pandavas lamenting, even Krishna sometimes they're lamenting, but they're lamenting for the soul who has left, and they're lamenting for the separation of the soul. That was a unique soul, So there's two different ways to look at it. Again, you look at it from bodily platform or you look at it from spiritual platform. Spiritual lamentation actually helps because, it's like the gopis when Krishna suddenly disappeared, right? They were all in Vira. Where is he gone? Hey, where is he gone, right? But then when Krishna appears, they're all very happy. But they were lamenting because they wanted their spiritual association, So if your lamentation is there, like if you have some ancestors that have left and you feel like that, then do something spiritual for them. Just general lamentation is not good. But you do something, if you're feeling, that attachment, then go and do something spiritual. And especially for the departed souls, even, there's so many things. You go feed the cows, you feed the brahmanas, offer the garlands to the deities. And you pray that please, that soul, wherever that soul is, bless that soul with lots of bhakti. Okay.
Krishna. A couple of questions before you were talking about doing the parikram, Vrindavan parikram. My question, I really don't know. Why should I do? Why is it good for me? Is it better to do Brajmandal? Yes?
Vrindavan parikram. Yes.
Why should I do it? Does it bring me nearer to God? Does it make any difference compared to others who are not doing that? Why should I do it? Please give me advice. Why should I like to do it every day. If I come nearer to God, I will do it. So what is the profit to do it? And to do it as often as possible.
Yes, there is very nice explanations, but I'll give you a short, sweet answer. I was reading yesterday that every step that you take, one step that you take in Vrindavan is equivalent to doing parikrama of all the dhams on the planet. All the other dhams where you go and you visit and you do pilgrimage, just one step in Vrindavan is equivalent to visiting all the dhams. So people go to different dhams to get benefit, And it's important, see, when we go to dhams, or say for example you go to Haridwar, and people take a bath in the Ganges, and then they come out. So it's a very commonly known thing that by bathing in the Ganges you get purified and your sins are washed off, But going to Ganges or going to the bank of Yamuna here or going to, the Char Dhams, any other places, it is only beneficial if you go to those places and you meet saintly people and you acquire some knowledge from there. Otherwise the tendency is, hey, I went to Haridwar, I had a dip in the Ganges. What is the philosophical understanding? I went to the Ganges, I didn't take a dip, I took blessings of Mother Ganga. And then I met some saints there who told me the pastimes of Mother Ganga and the benefits of Mother Ganga, So if you do go to places of pilgrimage, it is only complete when you meet some saintly people there who are there, seriously established, who give you the science of self-realization, who help you with the science of self-realization. That's why you have to do parikrama, And also, generally speaking, it's good for your health. You're going to have to walk every day. Your doctor is going to tell you anyway, any day if they have. Yeah.
Okay, and you just call only the Ganges, taking part in the Ganges. For example, if I go to Dwarka or Ayodhya or all the holy places which are meant in
Yeah.
the Bhagavatam, that Krishna says, before you die, it's good to have visited all these holy places, pilgrimage places. And just like you said, the Ganges, I think that is also meant you must go there to learn something, or just go, I go to Haridwar, I go to Rishikesh, whatever. The intention should be to get some knowledge. or
Yes,
learn
yes. Every step we should be thinking how I can make advancement so that, you keep in mind that death can come anytime. Right? Death can come anytime. So, we should be taking every step, every moment of our life, we should be taking, the opportunity, every opportunity we get to make advancement in spiritual life.
And by visiting these places, you make advances, or just you have to talk, not just visiting it, but talk to people.
So, for example, you come to Vrindavan and you come to ISKCON temple and you don't talk to devotees and you don't take darshan, you don't take prasadam, are you benefiting? No. You come here, you take darshan, so you benefit. You take prasadam, so you benefit. You talk to devotees and you ask questions and you benefit, right? So everything, every step you're taking is helping you in your spiritual life. That is the whole purpose. But see, Krishna doesn't tell us to go to all the dhams. He told Nanda Baba, you don't need to go to all the dhams. He gave an example that you stay here because all the holy personalities are coming to Vrindavan. No? So if you take a dip in Yamuna here or any kund here, or you staying in Vrindavan and you practice your Krishna consciousness, there is more than enough. You don't need to go to all the holy dhams. There is very nice pastimes you should read in the 10th canto. Why Krishna is saying, because my time is over, so I have to stop. But okay, thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.